economic sabotage, abuse of power and corruption. While under tight security, Lengai Olisabaya, who has 2 cases opened against him, one in the district court and the other in Arusha Regional Resident Magistrate Court, had his charges read to him before 2 judges by 3 state prosecutors. After the charges were read, Olisabaya and other accused were taken to remand as the offences do not have bail. The case is expected to come up for another mention on the 18th of June 2021.
Na mkurugenzi wa mashtaka kama mlivyojiona baada ya kujiridhisha kwamba kweli.
After the prosecution was satisfied that allegations he and co-accused were facing, the head of prosecution decided that today they were to be arraigned in court to face the charges, which include operating criminal gangs, corruption, money laundering, but also armed robbery.
Kama mlivyoona, alikuwa akituhumiwa kuongoza magenge ya kihalifu. Vile vile alikuwa akituhumiwa kwa vitendo vya rushwa kama mlivyoona. Vile vile kwa kutakatisha fedha haramu ambayo ni matokeo ya vitendo vya rushwa.
And the government has said that poaching activities have declined by 90%, while the number of tourists who entered the country last year surpassed their goal of 400,000 and went up to 600,000 tourists. The Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism, Dr. Damas Dubaro, said this in Dodoma while tabling the 2021-2022 budget estimates for his ministry in Parliament, adding that Tanzania has shown globally in tourism despite the COVID-19 pandemic.
Hifadhi ya Taifa ya Serengeti kuwa bora barani Afrika.
Serengeti National Park is the 2nd best national park in Africa and 12th in the world for having large numbers of followers on social media, especially Instagram for 2020. The park has been recognized by the famous magazine of Forbes of the United States of America as the world's 2nd most attractive park to be visited in 2021. Also, Kilimanjaro National Park, Serengeti and Tarangire have won Traveler's Best of the Best 2021 award. Meanwhile, Tanapa has also won gold category for quality services for the year 2020.
Mchakato wa kuipandisha hadhi wakala wa huduma za misitu TFS.
The process of taking TFS to higher ranks to be an authority has begun by collecting data and to be sent to decision-making board that will give TFS the power of authority in preserving forests and assets. The committee is urging speed up of the process.
Leo mkiwaambia wananchi wako kwenye hifadhi.
Today you are saying that these people are living in the reserve with the pace of growing communities and boundaries that were set in the 1990s. Definitely conflicts cannot be escaped.
And the head of service in Tanzania People's Defense Forces, TPDF, Major General Paul Simuli, has told officers of the force to be prepared to combat any indicators of terrorism, while also urging them to avoid conflict between them and the public so as to maintain the force's respect.
Ugaidi upo. Na sasa ni jukumu lako.
There is terrorism. It is therefore your duty, if you are assigned to go and look for terrorists, make sure you act as you just did. This is not an easy war, but it is easy if every Tanzanian denounces terrorism.
Mimi nikiwa ndio mkuu wa shule afande na
As their college head, I assure you that these officers are ready to defend their nation. During the 18-week training, they were trained in various areas, in theory and practical.
Ukakamavu ulioonyeshwa ni uthibitisho tosha.
Strength shown today is a clear indication that training was done well.
Na shule ya RTS Kihangaiko imesimamia mafunzo kikamilifu.
The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has bid farewell to the ambassador to Chinese ambassador to Tanzania, Wang Kei, who completed her term. At State House in Chamwino, the president thanked the outgoing ambassador for her efforts in developing and growing the relationship between China and Tanzania, including various projects funded by China, such as construction of the University of Dar es Salaam Library, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Corporation building in Dar es Salaam, and for giving the government 35 billion shillings for development projects.
She really carry on what has been doing and what has not been accomplished by His Excellency John Pombe Magufuli. For example, we mentioned about those major mega projects, and also she is paying very much attention on the social delivery, that is to benefit the people, the Buananchi. And also she's very far-sighted, and she's doing something new to make new goods, that is to committed to improve the environment, business environment, in order to, to contribute to the industrialization of this country.
A dispute over an open area today occurred at Mwenge Mlalakwa area in Dar es Salaam, whereby the police intervened with the owner of Oilcom fuel station, claiming he had a permit from Town Roads and that all engaging in various economic activities, including parking of vehicles, vacates the area.
The petrol station owner says the land is his while we are paying the municipal for us to do business here. The petrol station is also paying Town Roads. He took the debt collectors to remove us through the removal order, where they came with police officers who urged us to move, and we showed the police all documents that shows our payments. I was shocked from the displacement of our tables and a wall that has been built. When I asked about what happened, they said that the owner of the petrol station did this. I am calling on our dear president to fight for women vendors. We are indeed suffering. Here there are confusion of two authorities, the municipal and Town Road. That is why the conflict has occurred.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and East Africa Corporation Ambassador Liberata Mulamula, while visiting IPP media offices in Dar es Salaam, has said media companies are an important bridge to the government in providing the public with information on issues taking place within and outside the country, assuring that the ministry will not hesitate to provide sufficient cooperation to journalists.
Tambo mizuri nimeweza kuona, kumbe sisi tukiona habari ndio wanasema kwamba usione vitu vinaelea vimeundwa.
I have seen marvelous investments from how newspapers are printed. It made me value a newspaper from now onwards, not only on investments, but even standards set on the broadcasting area. I have today seen equipments that I have never seen before. Many of them are remote controlled, without forgetting the virtual studio. I never believed my eyes that these high-end things are done in our country. You are doing outstanding job that makes us proud as a country.
Miaka mmeona kwamba katika kipindi of course wengine ni miaka mingi, lakini kwa Tanzania
diaspora's contribution in the country is quite immense by doing a lot of investments and positive influence in our country. Many Tanzanians in the diaspora are educated, highly experienced, and that is what the ministry has been doing in ensuring that their skills are beneficial to the country.
Kwa hiyo sisi kama wizara ya mambo ya nje tumekuwa tunachota ujuzi na
The Chief Justice of Tanzania, Professor Ibrahim Juma, has called on judges and public officials in the country to protect the Constitution and serving the people because the authority they have comes from the public. The Chief Justice made the statement in Lushoto, Tanga region, during a training for judges of the Appellate Court, High Court of Tanzania and the High Court of Zanzibar, who were sworn in on May 17th this year by the President, Samia Suluhu Hassan.
Ukweli kwa wananchi wamebaki na haki zao za msingi umebainishwa kwenye katiba kwamba hawajatupa mamlaka yote.
The people's fundamental rights have not been taken from them, and this has been made clear in the Constitution, whereby we've not been given all rights. They still have a large proportion of it. The Constitution reminds us, judges, and all public service heads that we've been loaned just a small proportion of the rights. Let us use it for the benefit of the people. It is our objective that our college continues to be the hub of knowledge in furthering efficiency in our judicial system.
62 illegal immigrants from Ethiopia have been detained by defense and security organs in Iringa region for entering the country without permits. The illegal immigrants were arrested yesterday in Ruahambuyuni, Kilolo district, while heading to South Africa in search of employment.
Lakini muda uliotumia kutoka Ethiopia mpaka kufika hapa mahali walipokamatwa ni kama miezi mitatu.
It has taken them 3 months. They have told us that they used bush routes on a car or motorcycle. Working with the police, we were able to arrest them. They were hidden in a truck behind oil drums. I've spoken to a 17-year-old and 19-year-old, as well as a 30-year-old.
Yeah, I've come go to South Africa, but
I wanted to go to South Africa, but now we've been arrested.
That is all for national news. International news is next. In international news, the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo has extended a state siege in violence-hit eastern region for 15 days, a month after civilian authorities were replaced with military administrations in North Kivu and Ituri provinces. Violent attacks have since continued, but Justice Minister Rose Mutombo said numerous militia fighters had surrendered and the army had seized control of new areas. And the president of Burundi, Evariste Ndayishimiye, has called on residents of Gatumba sheltering at Sobel camp after fleeing their homes due to floods to get prepared to be moved to other areas. President Ndayishimiye made the call when he toured the flood victims at Sobel camp in Bujumbura.
Every citizen has a right to a home in his own country. If you don't get any in Gatumba, then you will get somewhere else. It would be great if the government could provide us with a place to live. However, there are people who had strong houses which will dry out. They can eventually return home.
Kenya magistrates, as well as Judges Association and the Law Society of Kenya, have hit out at President Uhuru Kenyatta for what they termed as the selective appointment of judges. This comes a day after President Kenyatta finally appointed judges who were recommended by the Judicial Service Commission over 2 years ago. However, in a shocking turn of events, he appointed 34 judges and rejected 6.
My only advice to you is 1, serve with dedication and with utmost fidelity to the oath that you have subscribed to. You are the bastions of justice, defenders of liberty, instruments of law and order, guardians of the rule of law, and the embodiment of the hopes and dreams of our people. Just like you today, I too took an oath to both the letter and the spirit of the law, and it is not open to me to turn a blind eye to reports of our state organs.
That's all for the international news. We'll be back with business news after this short break. now in business news. NMB Bank has announced a profit of 206 billion shillings after tax that has enabled the bank to approve dividend of 137 shillings per share.
Na utaona kabisa leo katika mkutano mkuu wa wanahisa tumeweza kuwaeleza kwamba tumeanza mwaka vizuri sana.
In today's shareholders meeting, we have started the year well. In the first quarter of the 2021, NMB Bank made profit of 206 billion, which is equivalent to 32% increase from the first quarter of the previous year.
Bilioni 206 baada ya kulipa kodi sio fedha ndogo.
206 billion is not a small amount. Economically, one has made profit of 206 billion after paying tax.
Pata mwaka 2020.
And price inflation in Zanzibar dropped in May to 0.8% from 1.9% in April, with the Department of Statistics saying that the trend shows that inflation will continue to decline.
Mfumuko wa bei wa chakula umeshuka kumefika 0.5.
Food inflation rate has decreased by 0.5% in May 2021, comparing to 1.7% in April 2021. Food prices have reached 119.8 2021, comparing to 119.2 in 2020.
Meza hii tunavyosema hapa tunachoangalia kitu kinaitwa kasi ya upandaji wa bei.
What we are looking for is a speed of increasing prices of graph showing that generally the prices pace have dropped. This does not mean that prices have gone down in shops, but what we are looking for is rate of change.
Cassava farmers in Mtwara region have found a market for their crops after the Cereal and Other Produce Board entered into a contract with Chinese company Kasi Liag Finance, whereby the company will buy 1.2 million tons of raw cassava from 5 district councils in Mtwara region.
Naiomba iwe na nguvu ya kututafutia masoko kwa sababu zao la muogo.
I'm calling on the government to help us get markets for cassava crop. We have been cultivating for a very long time but lacked commercial markets for our produce.
Ulima wa muhogo kwa kufuata taratibu tutakazokuwa tumewaelekeza mpaka sasa hivi tumesha sajili wakulima.
So far over 60,000 farmers have been registered who cultivate cassava in 5 councils, farming over 65,000 hectares.
539.
That's all for business news. Sports is next. And now in sports. The Tanzania Premier League Board has warned Yanga Sports Club that they will be relegated 2 divisions down from the mainland Premier League if they make good on their threats and fail to face rivals Simba Sports Club on July 3rd.
On Thursday, the Jangwani Giants left the football fraternity in Tanzania in suspense after they claimed they only have 4 matches remaining to conclude the 2020-21 season, and thus excluding the Kariakoo Derby, which was rescheduled after it failed to take place on May 8th. Yanga media officer Hassan Bumbuli made the comments and insisted they are already done with playing against Simba this season in the league and that their focus is on remaining matches against Ruvu Shooting, Madui FC, Ihaf FC, Dodoma Jiji, and also the FA Cup. The statement has not gone down well with the league managers who, through CEO Almas Kasongo, have stated Yanga will eventually face tough consequences as per the rules governing the game in the country if they don't show up for the eagerly awaited second round derby at Benjamin Mkapa Stadium.
Tanzania Football Federation President Wallace Karia has dismissed allegations he has been favoring Simba Sports Club over their arch rivals Yanga Sports Club. Here's more.
Karia said he only has an affiliation with Coastal Union, now 16th with 33 points, and that there is nothing he can help them with to salvage the situation despite his TFF position. They come under fire, particularly from Yanga fans who believe the current administration is favoring the Tanzania Mainland Premier League champions. The most prominent case that pitted TFF against Yanga is the case that involved Bernard Morrison's move to Simba in 2020.
Devin Booker scored 22 of his 47 points in a phenomenal first quarter as the Phoenix Suns won their first playoff series since 2010, eliminating defending NBA champions Los Angeles Lakers with a 113-100 victory in Game 6 this morning.
Jay Crowder scored 18 points for the second-seeded Suns, who won 3 consecutive games to send LeBron James to a first-round series loss for the first time in his 18-year NBA career. Phoenix will meet Denver in the second round. Game 1 is Monday in Phoenix. Chris Paul had 8 points and 12 assists for the Suns, who jumped to a huge early advantage in the opening minutes of Game 6, while the Lakers' Anthony Davis struggled and eventually left due to his groin injury. Although the Suns lost much of their eagerly 29 points lead, they patiently held off the Lakers and James, who had 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. Dennis Schroeder scored 20 points, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had 19 for the Lakers.
Cameron Norrie reached the third round of a third consecutive Grand Slam tournament with a gritty victory against Lloyd Harris.
It continued what has been a superbly consistent run of form since the tour resumed last summer, and the reward for the British number 2's 4-6, 6-3, 6-3, 6-2 victory was another meeting with Rafael Nadal, who bet home Hope Richard Gasquet in straight sets. Norrie gave a good account of himself against the 20 times Grand Slam champion in the third round of the Australian Open in February, before losing against the clay master in Barcelona. Given the stage and circumstance, Norrie produced one of his best performances of a stellar year. After one loose service game early in the first set, he thoroughly outplayed Harris until the end, displaying a consistently high level across the 4 sets with minimal dips.
Trent Alexander-Arnold has been ruled out of Euro 2020 after sustaining a thigh injury in the closing stages of England's 1-0 win over Austria on Wednesday.
He is devastated by a setback which will keep him out for 4 to 6 weeks. After lengthy debate over whether Alexander-Arnold will be in the squad and surprised at the selection of 4 right-backs, Gareth Southgate must choose a replacement. James Ward-Prowse, Jesse Lingard and Ollie Watkins are most prominent on the standby list, and Ward-Prowse will appear to be the favourite, not least because England's manager has only 4 pure central midfielders, and one, Jordan Henderson, is a doubt for the opening match against Croatia on Sunday week. Southgate will not name his choice until after this Sunday's game against Romania. The delay will ensure greater intensity in training from the standby players, all of whom are due to remain with the squad for the final warm-up match. Ben White and Ben Godfrey are the other outfield options.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to bring you this bulletin, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching. Have a good night and a good weekend.
This week on The Decor, there are some places when you walk in, you feel, there's something you feel part of it, you feel comfortable, you feel that you can take that with you.
It's proportions. Everything in life, it's all about proportions. The street, the city, it's all about proportions. The human scale, it's the scale. It's us. For example, you will take yourself, the human, as a proportion, as the scale of everything. But what I found really a lot in this city is the Art Deco. The Art Deco was created in France. It's a modern, if you want, buildings style, but with some decoration, very like rectilinear decoration.
Join us on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on your favorite channel, Capital TV.
Focus Sada Group wanakuletea tamthilia kali ya kusisimua yenye mafundisho, visa, mapenzi, majaribu na kila aina ya burudani kwa jamii, ikisheheni waigizaji mahiri wakiwemo Dennis, Welu, Kulwa Kikumba, Gertrude, Haviti Makoti, Rachel, Beni, Tadeo na wengine wengi. Tamthilia hii inahusu kusambaratika kwa ndoa ya Dennis na Rebecca baada ya kukutwa kwa picha zenye utata za Rebecca siku ya fungate lao.
Tell me, who is this Rebecca? Can you tell me?
Kwa nini unanivunjia ndoa yangu? Nini kimetokea?
Yaani mzee, kifupi tu anakuzungusha. Bibi harusi amekutwa na picha za kutupa.
Ni picha ambazo kila mtu hapa ameziona. Akiwemo
mwanangu Daniel hawezi kumuoa mwanao. Labda niwe nimekufa.
Rebecca itakujia mara 2 kwa wiki kila Jumamosi kuanzia tarehe